All right, so I'm really tired, but I wanted to get this video done because there's a lot of things I want to talk about. Yeah, let's get started. So triple eviction, the first ever triple eviction for Big Brother US, and it could have been better, you know? I'm gonna try to keep it as positive, but also as honest. I would have loved to see Dr. Will physically again. I like how the first HOH comp revolved around him, so that's good. I was really hoping 2 people from this big alliance would have been out, and Danny is just a likely person from that alliance to get out. I would have thought it would have been her, Tyler, or Christmas. I knew if Tyler or Christmas did not get that second HOH, they could very well be in big trouble since they voted to evict Nicole. So let me go in order with everything. I have a lot of notes because I was so excited for this episode, and watching it, I was really excited too. I really wanted to see how everything would play out. In the intro, it was kind of funny how they were like double eviction. They're like, nope, triple eviction. Dr. Will's clue about thinking 3 moves ahead was a huge clue, but they were still thinking it was a double, and David, of all people, was like, I think it's a triple. So we knew going into this that Tyler would nominate Danny and Nicole because he thinks that they would never go against each other. What a lot of them are missing is that it's really Nicole and Cody. The wall yeller said it, yet nobody pays attention. It's really annoying. Even Danny evicted and shocked that Cody evicted her because she thought they were this duo, that they were super close, when, you know, she has no idea what was going on behind the scenes. And the fact that Nicole and Cody were ready to turn on her, and they already kind of have. Cody nodding while Kevin was making his speech, and it was funny. It was just like, yeah, okay, Kevin, like, are you done yet? Kevin and David both had really great speeches. They were really nice. Kevin genuinely seems like a really nice guy. It's just, you know, the best for him to be done with this house. He mentioned in his speech that votes are decided before the speeches, but it's all stars, you know, and I would love to see a speech change people's minds, but it's not gonna happen. I don't think there's really anything you can say. I know it's that last ditch effort. I know personally I would be fighting until the very last second, but speeches, just at that point, it's just too little too late. Kevin was evicted unanimously, and he didn't want to give anybody a hug. He's like, I don't want to deal with the fakeness. Give me a hug on finale night. Maybe even then he probably won't give them a hug. I wouldn't want to. It's just best for him to go hang out with Day in the jury house. It'll be so much more fun. He doesn't have to be stressed and pressed about all this. He didn't really have a day off, you know? I think he said he only had 6 days where he felt safe, and that was after veto competitions. Other than that, you know, he was used as a pawn. They picked really cute pictures of him, smiley Kevin, competition Kevin, and he was spot on. I know his reads haven't been spot on this season, but he was spot on about everyone playing a scared game, because that is definitely true, and we saw that again this episode. And he got all emotional over the conversations that they showed on the show that he had about being biracial, about representing the LGBTQ community. So Danny revealed to Kevin in the goodbye message that she was in a big alliance, and that's why he's going home, that she was really the only one that wanted him to stay, and he believed it. I don't know. Obviously, jury management's going on, but he got all emotional over it. I got so happy when I saw the HOH comp and saw Will's face and all the little question booths, and it was an all about Will competition. So this HOH comp was obviously a memory competition, and it was funny because Christmas tried to change her answer after Julie said everybody's locked in, and Julie's scary. I wouldn't want Julie to call my attention to anything or feel like I'm getting reprimanded by her. I'd probably cry. But, you know, it worked out because if Christmas would have changed her answer, it would have been wrong. So it worked out for her, even though she didn't win. I was surprised that Danny and Tyler got out so early. I know Danny isn't really good at these memory comps, but Tyler usually is, and to be out in the first round, I was like, wow. It's no surprise Memphis won this. He's great at memory competitions. Must be, you know, having a kid where he's doing memory stuff with him. I don't know, because he's older too, so it has to be that. Or maybe he's just naturally has great memory. I don't remember him in season 10 having a great memory. He was definitely not as good at competitions. I was not happy about Memphis winning this HOH. I was like, ugh, what a boring person to win this. I wanted something interesting to happen, and I knew he was likely just to get David out, which is not interesting at all. That's not a big move. It's like, why are we going after Kevin and David? Let's, you know, get out people from your alliance now before they get out you. And it would have been so much more interesting for us. We could have seen some blow-ups possibly. So yeah, I was like, ugh, I already know what's gonna happen. He put up David and Nicole. It was random draw for Vito, and Tyler, of course, shocker, gets picked to play in Vito. So Christmas won this. She buzzed in, but it was wrong, so she had to go back and fix it, and then came back, and it looked like Nicole buzzed in before her, and I even played it back and wasn't sure, but she actually did. Julie said Nicole buzzed in first, but it was wrong, and Christmas won because, you know, it was right. So yeah, I was like, oh, she's definitely not gonna use this. David's just gonna go home. This is boring. I hope the second half of this episode gets better. Maybe something interesting will finally happen. So Nicole was actually telling Christmas that she's her number one, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, oh my God, I can't deal with this. Like, we have to hear her frantic whining, and I'm just like, does Christmas believe this? I know they've gotten really close, and Nicole has been working on her relationship with Christmas and kind of turning away from Danny. And I mean, Nicole didn't want Christmas to go up as a replacement nom when Cody was HOH. So, but number one, please. But Nicole did in fact pick Christmas's chip for Vito, and she did mention it, but Christmas still did not use the veto and left Nicole and David on the block. David looks so done. He knows it's done for him, and you know, he'll be so much happier outside of this house. He doesn't have to deal with it anymore. And honestly, I was kind of rooting for David just because he seems like a nice guy, and I'm just over this alliance, and I'm just like, ugh, I have no one to root for really. But it's hard to root for someone who like didn't even take the time to watch a past season. You know, not that this makes him a bad person or anything, but I don't know, personally I would have watched and did my research, so I think it would have made his life so much easier if he did. This veto was Fire and Ice themed, and I immediately thought of Game of Thrones and how it disappointed me in its last season. But guys, it's still my favorite show, but yeah, I just thought immediately of disappointment, and that's what I was thinking right now with Memphis and Christmas winning, and then I thought of Game of Thrones and the disappointment there and the parallel between the two. All right, I'll stop with that. So we almost got a Nicole eviction. I'm assuming Memphis changed his mind and wanted Nicole out, and Tyler and Christmas voted that way and thought, you know, they'd be able to get Enzo, and it just didn't work out that way. So it was just Tyler and Christmas voting out Nicole. When I saw Christmas vote out Nicole, I got super excited. I'm like, oh my God, did the plans change? Is David staying, Nicole going? Oh my God, I suddenly felt like I was about to have a Thanksgiving feast. But then the letdown came. You know, Enzo was talking to Tyler, and I think I saw him like mouth, okay, like who we voting for? I'm sure Tyler told him, and Enzo didn't want to go through with it, and that just pissed me off so much. I think that was the moment that made me the most mad this episode, is that Enzo is just all talk again. he's just all talk about getting Nicole out, about making a big move, like why are we going after the David and Kevins? And yet when it came down to him to actually do something, he couldn't do it. Is he scared of Cody? Is like what is going on? I truly do not understand why he didn't do this. And I saw all the Twitter comments. Janelle was having some really, really funny tweets. Dan was tweeting. Everybody's like questioning why Enzo Evil Dick was tweeting too. And it was just like, what is going on? Like, what have you been saying this whole week? So Nicole gets to stay. David goes. What a waste of an HOH. Nicole's actually pretty awkward after. It's just kind of like, yeah, so what happened? Like, who voted me out? David left so quickly. I understand it's triple eviction, so they have to get moving real fast. He didn't really hug anyone. It was just like, bye, peace. Like, I would do the same thing. I'd be like, I'm so done with everyone. Can't wait to get out. I always think of Cody Nixon, Justin Cody, from BB19 when he just like walked over that table. I was like, that was iconic. I was like, yes. I really like the pictures they chose of David. He looked really cute and sweet. They were nice pictures. It seems like they showed the screen behind Julie with the triple eviction to the house guests on the screen accidentally, so they knew before Julie announced it to them. So yeah, I think Nicole mentioned it in her speech, and yeah, I mean, it happens. It's TV. These little blunders happen, and they kind of speculated already, so it is what it is. So the next HOH was also a questions competition, and Julie mimicking the OTEV salamander was hilarious. She did it the first time, and then after that I was like, okay, I'm gonna stop. It just took too long to do the voice, and it was just super funny and a little cringy, but she tried it, you know? Watching this, I knew that either Tyler or Christmas had to win it. I think it came down to Tyler, Cody, and Christmas, and Tyler beat them out. He didn't look too sure on that last question. I thought he had it wrong. I thought Cody and Christmas were right, but Tyler ended up being right, and I was happy, you know? I loved Tyler, his original season, and I've said that before. I do not like how he wanted to quit. I don't agree with that. And of course, the whole, you know, advertising of the jewelry and blah, blah, blah is annoying, but I'm still a Tyler fan, and I can't help rooting for him. I think he's a good player. I think the whole thing he pulled about wanting to quit hurt him a lot, and we hear when Danny gets evicted about that. Danny really tried campaigning to Tyler, and it's just kind of like, Tyler doesn't care. You know, Danny put Tyler on the block. She chose to get rid of Ian over Tyler, which was a huge mistake, and Danny even said that she regretted that. If that's, you know, when Julie asked, what do you regret? What do you wish you did differently? And that's it. And 100%, you know, I think there are other regrets that should be mentioned, like now working with Janelle, but in the whole planting seeds, and her social game just wasn't as strong as she thought it was. And she's gonna be in for a surprise when she sees that Cody, Nicole, you know, they were all turning on her, and they just weren't as solid as she thought. She was completely loyal to Cody and Nicole. She would have never put them up, never gotten them out. So it's just kind of like, she may be a little hurt afterward, or maybe she won't. Maybe she'll just be like, this is just game. But she seemed pretty hurt about the whole Cody thing. Like, she really thought Cody would have kept her. She really thought that was her BB bestie. She thought they were tight, and things just didn't work out how she wanted. And I honestly felt like she was going to be blindsided. And in a way, she kind of is. I'm sure she possibly saw it coming, since she is a big name player. Nicole was also campaigning to Tyler, and the whole whininess was just, I was like, can we go to commercial? Tyler had to make his nominations and was like, oh my god, this is so hard. Danny and Nicole, like, we all know that wasn't hard for you. Like, come on, we knew you were gonna do this. So it was exactly what I expected. Due to time constraints, it was useful that this veto was able to transform into 2 competitions. I do think that the people that played in the first veto had an advantage because they knew how it works. They had practice. So it is what it is. I actually didn't want Tyler to win the veto. I would have been fine with somebody else winning and then seeing what would have been done, because that would have been really interesting. But we didn't get that. Tyler was flying by. This competition was made for him. His long legs, he's very lean. So he was like flying across those beams. Like, I don't know if it's possible to go any faster than that. Christmas was also pretty fast, but she fell pretty early on, and Nicole fell really bad. She ate it, hit her head. She's not a graceful faller, you know. Props to her for staying in this game so long while being a former winner. Maybe the house guests aren't taking it seriously. Maybe it's pre-game alliance. I don't know, but it's frustrating that Ian was targeted because he was a winner, and they're like, we got to get this winner out, yet Nicole's still there, like, and nobody wants to get her out. Like, they had the chance to get her out while she was on the block next to David, and it would have been quick. Wouldn't have had to deal with her campaigning, wouldn't have to deal with her in the house. It would have been painless, but they didn't do it. So, like, when are you gonna get her out? And now that Tyler and Christmas both voted Nicole out, will Nicole turn on Christmas? And then she's really screwed because, I don't know, now the guys are all getting the girls out and then gonna go after each other. Like, I don't know. I found it funny that Nicole's like telling Tyler, I mean, you have to pull out all the stops. Obviously, you promised your firstborn child, you promised whatever so you could stay in the house. And Nicole was really like, you know, it's fine. You voted me out. Like, I'm not coming for you. Like, it's cool. Like, I don't care. It's like, of course she cares. Like, of course she's gonna come for you. So Danny was evicted unanimously. She did not hug Christmas. I don't think she even hugged Tyler. She looked upset. She was upset after nominations. You could tell in her face. She was pretty much seeing her game end before her. She went out, almost forgot her mask. Danny was telling Julie that she doesn't like Christmas, and Julie's like, okay, well, like, they're inside now calling you a legend. Tyler was saying that Danny is like the best player he's ever played with, and they were calling her a legend, whatever. And then Danny's like, oh, okay, I guess I don't really like hate Christmas. That's a lie. But towards the end, you know, we weren't that close anymore. It's all different when they're calling you a legend, right? So yeah, I'm glad there was payback for getting out Ian and not working with Janelle, you know, karma. So it really wasn't all that surprising. I think this was bad for the people that were out of the loop, the people that just weren't a part of that core. Obviously, them turning on Danny has been a long time coming. I would have loved to see Franzel walk out of the house, or I don't know, Christmas or Memphis, or I don't know. I just wanted something interesting. Watching Big Brother, once your favorites, the people you were truly rooting for, are out of the house, is a whole different experience. It's kind of just like, I just want destruction. I just want chaos. So yeah, I guess we'll see who wins the next HOH and go from there. Finale night coming this month in October. It's all coming along. So yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe and let me know in the comment section.